Hello, Terrell here, founder of Evolution Movement. So we're here for another installment of the holiday series where we highlight different small businesses. And today I am joined with Berta Villa, the owner of La Petite Chambre. So welcome. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much, Terrell, for having me on.
Thank you, thank you. So tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you grew up, what got you into what you do now, what do you like your store and all that type of thing.
Sounds good. So I was born and raised in the Bronx. Both my parents were Puerto Rican, and they owned a grocery store in the Bronx. So that's kind of where my feel of wanting to own a small business kind of came from.
Mhm.
Inspiration seeing them really not knowing anything about business and just kind of starting something from scratch and making it pretty much really, really good in the neighborhood.
Mhm.
They were successful in the sense where they were there for probably 30 years. They were a pretty big staple in the neighborhood as well. We were right across the street from a school. And back then, they used to sell penny candies. So the kids used to run across the street and buy penny candies all the time. So I grew up in that environment of just seeing my parents working hard, working for themselves. And it was a big inspiration. I went to college for fashion and always had that desire to want to be a business owner, but I didn't know what calling yet I wanted to do. I didn't want to own a grocery store, so it was definitely not that, but it was something within of something of my own. And go to fashion school, spent probably 17 years in the fashion industry, and then COVID hit. Had my second son during that time, and I was set to go back to work when I got furloughed because of COVID. And I took that opportunity to say, you know what, this is now or never. I spoke to my husband. He was gung ho. He says, well, if you're going to do it now. And that's what I did. I started doing a business plan, trying to figure out what chapter I wanted to go into. Because having kids, I kind of felt having a boutique for children was a great idea. Since I was a mom, I can associate with customers. And also being in the fashion industry, I had that insight as well too, being able to price product, know where to get product, and kind of like had a little bit more legway to figure it out more so than not knowing anything about the field itself.
All right.
And so I started an online boutique first. Actually, December 9th of 2020, I opened up the boutique online. And I definitely knew that wasn't going to be the end all be all. I wanted to have a physical like store. And a few months later, we started looking and we found one not far from where we live. And it's located on Cortelu. And it's not far from where my husband grew up because he's from Brooklyn.
All right.
So, we started looking around, found the spot with a great broker, and opened up La Petite in May 1st of 2021.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, so opening up a space at that time, I mean, obviously, I'm pretty sure it's very challenging. So, like, what made you think that this was like the right time? Because for a lot of people, it was, it's especially because a lot of businesses were like closing down.
Yeah.
So I think it was like it was an opportune time for some people, but like other people would be like, kind of skeptical, like, why would you do it at that time? Obviously, it's worked out, but what made you think like this is the perfect time for this?
It's hard to really say that I knew it was a perfect time. I
Mhm.
just felt it was a perfect time for me because
Mhm.
I would have never had any other opportunity to do something like that. The
Mhm.
rents were low, nobody was renting, and
Mhm.
businesses were closing down. And kind of saying COVID wasn't going to be around forever, and you know that.
Yeah.
Um, I took a leap of faith, pretty much.
Mhm.
I felt like I wouldn't have never had the opportunity to do this unless COVID would have came around. Because before then, prices were too high rent wise. I
Mhm.
had two kids. I was working a full time job. So was my husband. Like there was no other way that I would have had the time to do a business plan, open up a store, and still be working full time. And so it was more like jumping into something, hoping that it would work out, and having that faith of saying, do do it now or never do this, or just go back into working into a different company when COVID kind of died down a little bit. And so I just went in for it. It's really hard to ever say when is the right time, because
Yeah,
even it's always something you always think about in the back of your head. Should I do something, especially when it's your own business? Because it's
yeah,
you take risks no matter what.
yeah. I mean, I personally know a lot of people that have opened businesses from before COVID, after COVID. But I mean, a lot of people that are in similar situations, they open up like when things started to just open back up. They all the ones that I know, and they're all different fields. They all been saying the same thing. Like it's like they are pretty successful with it because it's like the timing was. For some people, they might not think it was right, but the timing was right if you were ready to do it. And it's
Yeah,
like I know people that have opened up like fitness facilities, and a lot of people, and at that point they weren't even really open at all.
yeah,
So it's like to jump into that, and it's like to open at that time, but it worked out because when things were open, everybody wanted to come back in. So
well, that's exactly. So during the time where I opened up in May, people were masked up. Vaccinations were required, but it was nice to be able to have a store in a neighborhood where people didn't have to hop on the train or a bus. And that was the beauty of being able to open up in a neighborhood, that a lot of the new moms to be, had a place to come to without the fear of I have to take a train or I have to take a bus, or like I have to be in a tight area in a big shopping center with a whole bunch of people. Like people felt comfortable coming in because there were one or two people inside.
mm,
And we all wore masks for a long time. That customers that I met with masks, when they would take the mask off finally, I was like, wait, did I ever meet you? And it was like, yeah, remember I came in, but it was because we had masks on, and it was
yeah,
like you're finally seeing faces. But it was challenging. It was fun. It was something, if you asked me if I would do it again, definitely, because it was worth it, to be honest. Like I met a lot of great customers. The business has its struggles like any business. With the economy now, it hasn't been very easy. Like when I opened up, it was better.
mm.
Prices are going up everywhere, so obviously that affects my pricing. So it's just one of those things where you're just trying to ride the wave.
No, I understand. So let us know like what exactly you have at the store, and like what do you do there, like in the store as far as.
So it's a baby and children's boutique. So it's from newborn to about 10 years old. I sell clothing, shoes, books, toys. And then I also have a small curated consignment section, the front of the store, that it's gently used items from the neighbors that come in and they sell their things to me, and I just resell it at a pretty great price, I would say. You get something for $5, $2. I tend to have sales a lot, for the time frame that I have the items, just to kind of get it out and rolling. So that's been a great part of the business. It actually was more successful than I anticipated. I didn't really
Mm,
think people were going to be so into thrifting and buying secondhand, but it's been that part of the business has gone really well. When I opened up with the mindset of having just a regular clothing boutique and
yeah.
not really carrying a lot of toys or books. And it's turned into a gift shop boutique.
Mm,
So people come, for baby shower gifts, birthday gifts, new babies. And they always come to me to say, hey, I have a new baby that I'm going to go see. I need help finding a gift. And we help kind of curate a gift together, and we gift wrap it. If it's to be shipped out, we ship it out as well. It's just nice because you get to really, customers get to talk to someone and be helped in a very fun and happy way, versus you go to a big box store and you're kind of just finding it yourself, and sometimes the person behind the register is not as nice.
yeah.
And we always make sure we're, as people come in, we say hello and we help people when they want to be helped. We also not on top of you if you don't need anything,
Mm.
but we make sure we always make ourselves present, to customers, and we get a lot of repeat customers coming back all the time. So that's the nice part about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've done a few of these interviews so far, and everyone, it's all been the same as far as, especially like customer services. That's the most important, especially when it comes to small businesses, because community is how people are able to come back. Like,
Exactly.
obviously people will come in one time, they see it, but them coming back is like the what you bring to them. So I think that's very important, and everyone that I've spoke to, they have great customer service. Their personalities are great, and I saw your page on Instagram, and that's what really made me want to, because it looked like it was something different. I grew up in Flatbush as well, like
Oh, so you know
I
the
grew up,
area.
yeah. So like I understand exactly, like I grew up near Wingate High School, so like I understand like exactly where you're coming from as far as like the neighborhood and all that stuff. So that's what really gravitated me to want to do this interview.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. I didn't grow up in the neighborhood, so my husband did. So he kind of tells me how it used to be before. He's like, it's so different from how it is now. And to see his wife opening up a business in the neighborhood he grew up in and seeing the change in the neighborhood, it's very family oriented. It's a big community. There's
Mhm.
only two other stores that have like a gift shop and a bookstore. And we all know each other. We're all very nice to each other. We all recommend each other's stores to other customers, which customers find a little like, oh, I'm like, it's not a competition. We're
Yeah,
here all for the same thing. We're all here to work together because it's a community. We're in the same neighborhood.
yeah,
Um, so it's nice to see the area as family friendly. You have a lot of kids. I always say people always have children. That's one thing
yeah,
I can always vouch for. People will always be pregnant. You'll have moms come in, just found out they're pregnant, excited to get the first gift, and it's nice to be the store that they come to. So that's been like one of the biggest perk in being able to associate with a lot of the moms. Because as a mom, I can say, yeah, I've been through that. I've been there, or I'm going through that. I have a soon to be 4 year old tomorrow, and a 6 year old. So my kids are still fairly young to be able to relate to a lot of the new moms now.
yeah. No, that's great. So I always like to ask everyone this question. So what what do you think is what do you think is the toughest part of like the process, and what do you think is the most like gratifying part at this point, like seeing yourself from the beginning to where you are now?
Toughest part is a long list. um, I say the toughest when I first started was the decision to open up a store. That was the toughest part. Once you're in it, you're in it. It's kind of like when you're pregnant, you have a big belly, you're like, oh, that baby's coming any minute now. And you just have to prepare yourself for whatever comes. And so that's how it was when I first decided to open up the store. It was the decision of, should I do this? Should I do it now? Should I wait? And then within that time, you have obstacles. You don't realize how much it takes to open up a small business and what it takes financial wise, too.
Mm,
It might be like, oh, you have this amount of money. This is great. But then it's all the little hidden things that you don't expect.
yeah,
Down from workers' comp to paid family leave. I'm a small business. I'm like, why do I have to worry about stuff like this?
yeah,
Especially if you have employees. And it's things that you just never think about it. You don't think about until you're in it. And also consistency. Every month is different when it comes to small business. You can have a high month one time and the next month it's super low.
mm,
So it's always the not knowing where you're going to be every month.
mm,
You always try to look at the bigger picture, but month to month is important because you always have your fixed incomes, your rent, your utility stuff, everything that needs to get paid within that month. Um, and also just trying to get your name out there, I think is also been a big challenge. You
mm,
want people to recognize you. And as a small business, you have all these big businesses with commercials and advertising and coupons and sales. Like as a small business, it's really hard to do that because it goes back to capital.
yeah,
So it's just there's always little struggles. It's hard to really break it down to just one specific struggle. You'll always have, and there always will be something that comes in front, but you just try to take it one day at a time. And then biggest accomplishment, pretty much I can say, is just being able to say, I did this.
mm,
Every time I walk into my store, I'm always in awe, and it's almost 3 years. And I'm like, wow, like as hard as it was, it really feels great to say, I'm the owner. This is mine. I don't own the space, but to say everything in there belongs to me.
mm,
And I curated it with my mind, with my hands, with my dreams of this is what I wanted. It's great. It's and also the customers, having amazing customers coming in every day, and people saying how happy they are that I'm there, and people loving the things that I've bought for the store, and they pick it and they're like loving it just as much. It gives me a big sense of gratitude as well.
That's great. So, what would you tell yourself, like now knowing where you're at now? Like, if you could go back and just tell yourself from the beginning, like when you first started, what would you tell yourself? What if it was one thing?
There was one thing, gosh, I think pace yourself.
Hmm.
I think I would tell myself to pace myself a little bit more, um, not rush into doing things so quickly, and kind of like sitting back a little bit and just listening more to what customers' needs and wants are, than just kind of getting things that I thought I liked, and then when I don't really see it move, I get a little like discouraged. Um, Pace myself in life in general. I feel like I'm always on the go, especially with kids and as a business owner. Um, and I think that goes for anybody. Just take your time, do things with a clear head and not just dive into certain things. I love the fact that I opened up a store, and that was something that I did think about for a while. But as a business owner, I wish I would have just paced myself and been a little bit more financially savvy when it came to certain things.
Makes sense. I mean, I feel like that's the same for. I mean, everyone that I've spoken to is pretty much the same. I think sometimes it's like, especially when it comes to opening, like you gotta gotta be like gun ho. You have to go. You have to be everything. Throw everything into it. So it's like you want to see everything unfold,
Yeah,
and it might not happen the time in which it would happen. But if you like are consistent with it, it's going to happen. And
absolutely.
and I think that's like the biggest thing that I've seen. I mean, just being around a lot of different people that have opened businesses, especially brick and mortars. It's tough at times, but I mean, it's if you're able to build that community, that's like no matter what business it is. I mean, as I said, like a lot of I'm in the fitness industry, so a lot of people that I know that open businesses are like trainers and things like that. But this doesn't matter what business you're in. Building a community is that is the number one to
That's
have
what keeps you
longevity.
afloat.
Yeah,
Yeah, that your customers are the people that keep you there. If you have no customers, and that's why customer service is a big key, because if your customers don't feel comfortable coming in, or they're not getting the pleasantries that they would like, they're not going to come in. They have no reason to. So my loyalty lies to my customers, and the things that I do with having people coming in and shopping, giving them a great experience. And when they leave, they want to tell their friends, they want to come back, and we do what we can to make that happen. I curated a loyalty program. And as a small business, you don't really see things like that. But to me, it was important because I had repeat customers. And I'm like, it's nice to be able to say I'm shopping and I'm going to get a discount maybe the next time I come. And it doesn't take a lot from my end, because at the same time, they're helping me keep my store going. And I'm helping them get a little discount on maybe a few items that they purchase. So it's like a give and take.
yeah. No, I think that is the most important. I mean, even if you obviously not, even if you're doing like online, it's a lot of it comes down to building a community, like whether it's the following or whatever the case may be. And it's like it doesn't matter if you have a huge following or a small following, honestly, because it's about the people that are buying. So you can have a
Exactly.
huge following and not a lot of people
And
are buying.
nobody shops. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it doesn't really matter like how big the number is. It's just actually the people that are actually like engaged in what you do.
That's very true. And that's, I think, something that we don't really pay attention to as a small business. You think, oh, I have such a huge following. But like you said, it all comes down to who's going to shop. If you have 10,000 followers, you might only get 5 followers that shop from you.
Yeah,
So having 10,000 people doesn't really mean anything unless everyone's really investing their energy and time into you.
yeah,
So it definitely, Instagram, I feel like social media has makes and breaks a business. As a business owner, you always feel like you're trying to like get into the algorithm with everything. And it's almost like a second job when it comes to social media, Because if you're not posting, if you're not on top of it every single day, you feel like, oh my God, people are going to forget that I'm there.
Yeah.
And it's a little frustrating and annoying because that's not how I grew up. My parents, there was nothing of social media. You
Yeah.
had like the regular Mi Gente apps, and that was it.
Yeah.
But now it's like it's all about social media. Who's posting? What are you posting? What's your content? How do you editing? Like it just becomes so much more. So also trying to get into the rhythm of that has been tough on my end because it's another thing added to my plate.
Yeah, no, no, I fully understand. It's yeah, I mean it's a totally different game. I mean, it's these companies or businesses that are bigger businesses, they have people that are just doing social media at this point.
Exactly.
So it is like and you have to still have your own business at the same time. So it's like
Yeah.
it's a lot to keep up with. It is a lot to keep up with. But
It is. And you try to do everything on your own so you can save a little bit of money because at the end of the day, if you want something good, you have to pay for it.
yeah,
And you can't pay someone $10 and say, "Here you go, make my Instagram."
yeah, yeah,
You're gonna get $10 of what it looks like.
yeah.
So,
And I also think too in the beginning, it's about like as you said, like you separate yourself when people come into the store, like you separate yourself from other like the big box stores. So
yes.
when you go to Instagram, you could tell if someone is like genuine with the content or if someone's just putting anything, type of thing. So I feel like
Absolutely.
that's part of it too. So you kind of want to be like, oh, I want to make this seem like kind of like how my store is. Like there's certain the things when people go on there, they'll because that's what made me go to like I saw the things that you were doing, and I went on your Instagram, and then that's so it's like it is working. So
I
and
appreciate
it
it.
is. I mean, for everyone, I always tell always people like a lot of people, especially like people that I know that are starting businesses or in businesses when it comes to like social media, it's like don't always have to worry about like how much people, it's like it's more about just I think it's more about just keeping yourself separated from
Yeah,
others.
I mean, you have to make yourself special because as a small business, you have to say, what are people getting from me that they can't get from somewhere else?
Yeah,
And that's what has to make you unique in your own, it doesn't have to be something crazy, but at least something where it sets you apart from going to Target or going on Amazon. Like what will set me apart from that? It's being able to curate something that's small but looks great that customers come in and they know they can't find it at a Target or they can't, like if they buy from Amazon, it might not be the same. And at my store, they get to touch it, look at it, and
yeah,
really have a sense of quality. Amazon, you can't do that. Amazon, you click, you hit, and you're hoping that it's as
yeah,
what you see it. So that's the perk of having a physical brick and mortar. Because yeah, you can do online, but I feel like it's not the same of having a physical store.
yes, yeah, I agree, and it's a lot easier to sustain customers that way. I think like most
Absolutely.
of the time, if they're able to come in, it's like I feel like it's even if they let's say order it from online after they come in, the fact that they came in that first time is just like okay, I understand the quality of stuff that I'm getting.
Exactly. And that's the key thing. That's the driving force. You want people to say, "Oh, I love what you have," and knowing when they buy it online that it's going to be the same quality as what they see in store. So definitely.
Yeah. So thank you again for joining. This is great. So I want to just, I mean, I created this my nonprofit just because I want to just connect people because I have a lot of friends and like just people that I meet that are always looking to like get together with other small businesses, but it's hard to do it sometimes just because you don't. I mean, you might know someone here or there, but there's no way to actually come together. So I just wanted to
Absolutely.
create like a platform where other people, because I mean a lot of different people that just have a lot of great businesses, and I think the only way for all of us to grow is to come together and be able to share different things. And I mean, I've learned things from this interview, just about like I mean the mindset of I have a business, but I don't have a brick and mortar, so I just do mostly like remote and also like in person type of thing.
Gotcha.
So, but I mean, just learning from different people because every interview that I've done so far, I've learned something from someone. So,
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of being business owners, and also networking. You get to see so many different people's mindset, what drove them to open up something or to do something, and it's just nice to see everyone's story because I feel everyone's story is the same but different. And working in a big box company, you don't really get that feel of the owner, who they are. and having a small business, people get to meet the owners and get to talk to them and have a sense of like, what made you do this? And when they hear your story, everyone's like, wow, that's awesome. So it's like you're an inspiration to some people because they're like, you have two kids and you did this? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not easy. And I tell people it's not easy. It's always a struggle. Um, but it's worth it at the end of the day. It definitely is. Being your own boss is really nice. Everything that comes behind it is not easy, but nothing is ever easy.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's
I
right.
do appreciate you giving me the chance to be on your platform as well, because any exposure is always good exposure.
Yes, yes.
So,
So
and especially if it's in a positive way.
yeah, yes, exactly, exactly. So yeah, so let us know again where we can find you, Instagram, store, and all that. I'm gonna post it too as well.
Sure. So once again, the name of the store is La Petite Chambre BK. I'm located at 1035 Cortelli Road between Stratford and Coney Island. Once again, we're a babies and children's boutique. For newborn till age 10, we have a few things for mommies as well. And we have a small curated consignment section. And our Instagram handle is the same, La Petite Chambre BK. So if you love babies clothing and want to see some fun, cute things that are unique, definitely come on to our Instagram or come in store. We also have an online website as well called La Petite Chambre BK.
All right, and you can follow us at Evolution Movement. So we are gonna have some more interviews. Thank you again for joining. That was great.
Thank you, Terrell.
Thank you, and
All
like
right,
that.
have a good one.
Thank you.
Take care.